Top 11 Powerful Mindsets to Achieve Success Faster. Early Fortune Art. Hello, ladies and gentlemen and friends. Ordinary people change results. Excellent people change causes and top masters change thinking. Psychology. Professor Carol Dweck of Stanford University mentioned in the study on lifelong maturity that the difference between people is not due to talent or level of diligence, but due to the way of thinking. A person's level of thinking is the maximum limit of their life. Below is a top way of thinking. If you nurture them, you will achieve success sooner than others. Number 1. Adaptive thinking. A drop of water has a weight of about 50 times the weight of a mosquito. When combined with the acceleration due to gravity, the impact of the drop of water on a mosquito is no different than a large bus crashing straight into a person. But why, on rainy days, most mosquitoes are still safe? An American professor used a high-speed camera to record the scene of a mosquito escaping in the rain. When the drop of water falls on the mosquito's wings and legs, it will lean in the direction of the drop of water and then flip. I let the water drop slide off. The mosquito's body is covered with a layer of waterproof material like lotus leaves that helps them easily escape the water drop by simply stretching their legs and wings. Even if they are hit by a water drop, the mosquito will follow the force of the water drop and fall together. Then quickly adjust its position to separate from the water drop and continue flying. No matter how heavy the water drop is, the mosquito can still escape thanks to its ability to continuously adjust its response strategy to the environment and situation. This also proves Darwin's point of view in the theory of evolution that the species that survives is not the strongest or the most intelligent, but the species that responds fastest to change. Andy Grove, the founder of Intel, once proposed the theory that change is 10 times faster than we can predict. Just look at how many jobs that were once stable have been completely transformed. How many jobs that were once prosperous are being replaced by virtual reality in this era of constant movement? If we want to be stable, we must proactively adapt to change before it happens. We delve deeper into the truth about money and help quickly achieve financial freedom. The World War I president at Columbia University was tasked with analyzing and designing the optimal LC to minimize damage to the aircraft. Bullet holes in different parts of the aircraft were not uniform. It seemed reasonable at first, but the talented mathematician Abraham Walt objected. He argued that reinforcement should be given to the places with the least bullet holes, which were the engine. Walt explained that from a probability perspective, every part of the plane had an equal chance of being hit. But why were bullet holes in the engine less? He speculated that planes with bullet holes in the engine could not return, while planes with bullet holes in other parts could still land safely. Similar to the fact that patients with more leg injuries than chest injuries are not because the legs are more vulnerable, but because those with chest injuries are usually dead. Ordinary people only see the planes. Planes get shot down, but the masters see the bullet holes missing the distance between them. They're in probability thinking. People with probability thinking can make more accurate decisions. Investment guru Charlie Munger once likened his investing wisdom to a fishing story. The first rule of fishing is to fish where the fish are, and the second rule is to always remember the first rule. All our lives we face 3 problems: what to do, what not to do, and what to repeat. Probabilistic thinking helps us to realize what can be done, what should not be done, and what to do in the long run. Number 3. Leverage thinking. In the 19s, the British Library needed to move over 13 million books from its old base in London to its new base in St. Page. Estimated transportation costs of £3.5 million. If you were a library manager, you would think of ways to reduce hiring costs. Cheaper labor reduces transportation costs. But with the huge workload, every solution seems like a drop in the ocean. People with a top mindset. What will you do? A young employee in the library went to the manager. The young employee told the manager, "I have a way. Just give me £150,000. That's enough." The next day, this young person posted a notice in the newspaper that from today the British Library will be open, free and unlimited to all citizens. To save on the cost of moving, please return the books at the new library at the specified address. The young person turned the traditional thinking about moving books into the thinking of returning books. Only cost a fraction of the expected budget and completed 90 minutes of moving books. The lever thinking is really that powerful? In the book The Genius on the Left, The madman on the right. There is a saying, if mindset is a wall, then the world is on the other side of the wall. This world never has a dead end. The only thing that hinders you is your fixed mindset. When you encounter a problem and reach a dead end, try changing direction. You may see the light at the end of the tunnel. Number B. Thinking. 4 million. Michael Simons, an American best-selling author, spent 5 years studying self-made billionaire entrepreneurs. He discovered that these brilliant founders had very similar thinking. When faced with problems, they used 4-dimensional thinking to see the world. While most people still only stop at 1-dimensional thinking, people with 1-dimensional thinking limit their vision in a specific area of expertise. People with 4-dimensional thinking can see from the past to the future across hundreds of years to make decisions. People with 1-dimensional thinking only pursue short-term benefits, while people with 4-dimensional thinking focus on long-term benefits. For example, Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, he is willing to invest billions of dollars in experiments that may fail or take up to 7 years to make a profit. Or, like Warren Buffett, chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, only invests in companies that he believes he can keep. For decades, Masayoshi Son, founder of SoftBank, once asked his employees a question why most people don't achieve great success. The employees are all confused. Masayoshi Son draws a mountain on paper. Below the mountain is a circle and on top of the mountain is another circle. The two circles are connected by the word ideal. He said that ideal is like a guiding lighthouse. When you have a clear goal, you will be more patient, calmer and more steadfast. Short-term success will not disorient you and temporary failure will not scare you. So don't overestimate the short-term achievements of a year and don't underestimate the changes of 10 years. Always do the right thing. Time will give you the answer. Number 5. Upstream thinking. The editorial team of a reality show once interviewed the top programmers in the country and asked them what the core challenge in their profession was. You may think that their job only revolves around writing code better, mastering more programming languages, but the answers of these experts are completely unrelated to that. They all gave the same answer: demand consulting. The vice president of Tencent shared a story during his time at Google when he was responsible for increasing the conversion rate from search to advertising. At that time, the company's business team noticed that the conversion rate of Chinese users was low and suggested to the engineering department that they should increase the font size of the ad and change the background color to make it more prominent instead of adjusting it directly. He and his team asked what was the core problem they wanted to solve. After discussing, they realized that the business team wanted to increase the conversion rate. Upon further investigation, they discovered that the websites of Chinese portals often contained many banners at the top, causing users to ignore the top of the page and scroll straight down to where the Google ad was displayed at the top. Then they moved the ad position to the bottom of the page and the conversion rate increased. Top engineers not only focused on writing code, but they also saw the human needs behind the code. This is the upstream thinking. In the Book of Thinking Methods, McKinsey chart thinking method also mentioned a working principle similar to the number S, lazy ant thinking. At Hokkaido University in Japan, a research group on evolutionary biology conducted an experiment with 3 groups of ants, each group of 30, to observe how they divided the work. They discovered that in the colony most of the ants were very hardworking, busy cleaning the nest, transporting food and taking care of the young. But some ants were very lazy. They just wandered around looking around when the others were working. Biologists called these ants tongue ants and unmarked them. Surprisingly, the group C cut off the food source of the ants. The hard-working ants panicked and the lazy ants, marking the trait leading the colony to find a new food source. But the ants were not really busy. Hard-working to explore is called the famous ant effect. You have a brain and the ants just haven't. Psychologist Jordan Peterson once came up with a self-test table as follows. You spend a lot of time for the easiest things to do and complacent that even though there is no achievement. But have spent a lot of effort procrastinating in the name of preparation. Looking busy but in reality there is no progress. Never checking the results of work. Read a lot of books but never summarize the rules or if there is a summary. It is not applied to life. If you have the above signs, it is time to change. When you are bent over forward, do not forget to look up further to see the direction clearly. Number 7. Landscape thinking. In the mid-19th century, psychologist Kurt Kka proposed the theory of landscape that the external environment has two types. One geographical environment is the real environment. Two behavioral environments are the environment in the human imagination. He told a story like this. One winter night a man rode his horse to an inn in a blinding snowstorm. He was happy to have found the place. The innkeeper was surprised to welcome him and asked where the man came from. The man pointed in the direction outside the inn. Hearing that, the innkeeper was horrified and said, "Did he know he had just ridden his horse past?" After hearing, the man fell down at the feet of the innkeeper when the man rode his horse. The lake is the geographical environment, but in his mind it was just a snow-covered field. If he knew he was crossing a large, dangerous lake, he probably wouldn't have dared to ride his horse fast on it. But because he thought it was solid ground, he continued to move forward. After knowing the truth, he was so shocked that he fell down. Humans are products of their environment. The best way to change yourself is to always put yourself in a nurturing environment. If you want to increase your ability to concentrate, create a space that is not disturbed. If you want to improve your awareness, remove poor quality short video apps and read classic books instead. If you want to be in a positive mood, stay away from things that upset you. Argue less with others and spend more time in nature. If you are not satisfied with your current situation, start by changing your environment. Change yourself. Start now. Number 8. Changing your mindset. Not every wall is worth crashing into. Life is full of obstacles. Ability, and there is no rule that forces you to follow a path to the end, even when the road is not clear. Changing the path in time is the best way to take responsibility for your life. A netizen shared the story of her cousin. She is over 30 years old, has a stable job, but in the eyes of her relatives she is still considered a spinster. Every time she studies, her family cannot avoid being questioned by her uncles and aunts. Then her parents asked someone to introduce her to a guy. Both of them have similar interests and quickly have feelings for each other. Not long after they discussed marriage, one day the cousin accidentally discovered a text message on her boyfriend's phone and learned that he had a gambling habit. Every month almost all of his salary was spent on this, and his family even helped him hide it. At first she tried to advise him to give up because gambling is very addictive. Although he did not object but did not pay attention to her advice. Then one day he suddenly came to borrow money from her to cover his living expenses. She was surprised and asked him what he had just done. Receive salary. But why do you need to borrow money? He replied, I have lost everything. He even showed frustration and blamed her for not getting married yet. But she has already X'd into my business. Hearing that, she did not say another word, immediately turned around and walked home. That night she took the initiative to propose a breakup. The next day both families continuously advised her to think again, thinking that the guy would change and should not give up easily. But she still firmly broke up. Later she met a better man while the other guy was in debt because of gambling. Even lost his job and had to hide from debt. In this story, the core is that not all perseverance has results. But there are things that should not be persevered forever, because it is just stubbornness. Life is not always smooth and not all walls are worth us. Rushing into giving up wisely is better than blind stubbornness. Stop in time. Pull out of the swamp to find a new life. Number 9. Thinking. Fill the hole. If you can't solve the problem, you will become the problem. The CEO of Alipay, Bang Wei, once said, no matter what Jack Ma's decision is, my only mission is to help that decision become the most correct decision. The greatest success of a person lies in the ability to solve problems. Whether in work or life, the thinking of filling the gap is the core competitive ability. The writer Cycle once told about a personal experience when he first started working at a company. After only 3 days, the CEO's assistant suddenly announced that he was attending a meeting. Just entering the meeting room before understanding the content, he was scolded by the CEO to his face. He was the person in charge of the company's website. Right, this website is so bad it must be quickly reformed within 30 days. I want to see the new version launched. At that time, Cycle was stunned. He had only worked for 3 days and knew absolutely nothing about website operations. But he quickly understood that this was a trap set by his predecessors to challenge him. Many people might refuse to accept the job, but Cycle did not refuse. He just nodded and continued. For a whole month he was busy. constantly planning for the columns. Find a technician to coordinate the work of the UI design team, and finally he managed to launch the new version ahead of schedule. The CEO was very satisfied and then discovered that he was not the person in charge of the website. This made the CEO appreciate him even more and suggested that the general director appoint the cycle as the product department manager and nominated him as the group's outstanding employee of the year. After just over a month of work from a new employee, Cycle became a highly regarded person thanks to his ability to fill holes. Cycle said that each time he had to fill a hole was an opportunity to train and develop himself, helping to improve his will and strong mentality. From there he became a person who could naturally cope with all difficulties and build a solid foundation for his future career. Work is always a series of holes after holes, and your job is to learn how to fill holes. Well, only when you fill holes can you continue to move forward. The gap between people is shown in their ability to fill holes or not. When facing difficulties, those excellent people often know how to find solutions, while mediocre people try to justify their incompetence and avoid responsibility. How far a person can go depends on how big their ability to fill the hole is. Number 10. Wooden barrel thinking. Definitely don't let your shortcomings destroy your advantages. A truly intelligent person is someone who knows both his strengths and weaknesses. Instead of trying to face the weaknesses, find ways to exploit your strengths to the fullest and find your own shining moments. There was a famous German scientist named Otto W. When he was young, he followed his parents' wishes and studied literature. But he himself had no interest in literature. After a semester, the teacher had to inform his parents that W was very hard-working but too stubborn. A person like that, even with perfect character, could not develop in literature. His parents later sent him to study fire association. But the fire association teacher also judged him to have no talent. His paintings were not noticed. Dweck met many failures when going the wrong way. This significantly reduced his confidence until his kind chemistry teacher advised him very meticulously and had a talent for practice. Why not try pursuing chemistry? And from there Dweck's ability seemed to burn. He quickly developed into an outstanding talent in the field of chemistry. In 1910 he won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his success in synthesizing artificial flavors. Ancient sayings: rulers have short, inches have long. Human intellectual development is not equal. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. Flaws can become obstacles on the path of life and limit our development. Smart people are those who know how to promote strengths and avoid weaknesses, from which can open up an increasingly wider and smoother path in life. Number 11. Empty cup thinking. Sometimes resetting life requires emptying the mind. On the internet there was once a story like this. A young man, after failing to start a business, blamed the times and surrounding circumstances, then listened to his parents talking about a Zen master who attained enlightenment at the temple. He decided to meet him at first. The Zen master's disciple welcomed him, but he acted arrogant and said that a young monk was not qualified to welcome me. Not long after, Zen master Dick then welcomed him very humbly when the Zen master poured water. Even though the cup was full, he continued to pour more water. The young man wondered why the cup was full, but the teacher continued to pour. The Zen master smiled and replied, "That's right. When the cup was full, how could more water be poured?" Hearing this, he suddenly realized that the Zen master had reminded him that, no matter where or when, we need to maintain an anti-empty mindset. Only when we always know how to empty ourselves and not cling to the past can we rebuild the future. Actress Ma Wai Loi once shared in a program about a small detail when she acted with Tran Dao Min. Tran Dao Min, a famous actor with professional skills and attitudes, demonstrated that ability through his lines and actions. After the performance, Tran Dao Min did not rush to leave but stood still, quietly standing by, attentively watching the young actors act. Ma Yi Li couldn't help but be curious and asked teacher Tran, who often stood by and watched us act, was there anything he wanted to teach him? Tran Dao Min smiled and replied, "Even though I am a senior, I always keep in mind that I must maintain a learning attitude and blend in with the younger generation without being arrogant." As a top national actor, Tran Dao Min still maintains the spirit of, "Three people walking together must have my teacher. Among the three people walking together, there must be someone who is my teacher. I always humbly learn." Thanks to this empty cup mindset, His acting skills are increasingly skillful. French writer Émile Zola once said that the entire meaning of life lies in constantly discovering the unknown and constantly increasing knowledge. If a person is only immersed in the glory of the past and is complacent, they will not be able to achieve new breakthroughs. Outstanding people often dare to renew themselves, erase the past and start over to create a better version of themselves. Bok Nam-tu once said that a person's value and social status are proportional. Agree with their irreplaceable abilities. Irreplaceable abilities come from independent personality and unique way of thinking. Life is a journey to practice the ability to break the limits of thinking. Education is the bronze medal. Ability is the silver medal. Relationship is the gold medal and thinking is the trump card. The right thinking method is much more important than effort. Thinking redirection helps to stop and move in time. Thinking to fill the hole to improve ability. Creating distance with others. Wooden barrel thinking definitely helps to discover and highlight advantages. Empty cup thinking helps life to be reset, starting over the rest of life. I hope we all possess the ultimate thinking methods to live in more harmony with this world. There is a saying, how far your achievements in this life depend on your thinking model. The way of thinking determines the path. Thinking cannot reach any height. Then the steps cannot reach there. The books you read, the paths you take, the experiences you have and the people you meet are all stepping stones to upgrade your thinking. Continue to hone in on the world. Practice in your mind and then one day you will overcome your own limits to see the bigger world. Thank you for following today's content. If you find my content valuable, don't forget to share with your friends and relatives. Follow me to learn more about the secrets of money. Hello and see you again.